Hello and welcome to the Digital Women Awards 2020, the sixth edition of this fantastic initiative for women entrepreneurs across India. Every year we are bigger, better. This year, more global, virtual, with many, many specific discussions that are relevant to our times, that are relevant to our future. Today, we are going to be putting the spotlight on the food business and where that is going in a post pandemic world. Also, looking at the trends that are emerging for those who have learned to deal with the highs and lows of this business. This session is going to have a host of entrepreneurs who work in the food industry at various stages of growth who are going to be joining the very fantastic Pooja Dhingra of Late 15. Personally, I have followed Pooja's career for a very long time, eaten at her tiny bakery, which was the first step to many, many big milestones that she's achieved. As a chef, as somebody who knows how to communicate and talk about moments that are tough, at the same time, moments that she has built into celebrations for her business. Pooja Dhingra, welcome to the Digital Women Awards and thank you for being not just an alumni, but such a big champion of this initiative.
Thank you for having me, Shaili. And, you were one of the first people I spoke to at the start of lockdown. And I remember there was so much uncertainty and there was so much, like, we had no answers. I mean, I don't think we have answers yet, but in March especially, and it's been quite interesting to see what's happened since then. And I'm very excited to be here with these extremely talented women. So thank you for having me today.
Super. So, Pooja, let's actually start with where you see ourselves in terms of entrepreneurs and most importantly in the food industry, which I think had many levels of upheavals during the pandemic, but seems like they've reinvented, the way delivery models are, the way people are looking at just finding that one big break in your dull day through food.
So, I mean, I genuinely believe that nobody knows anything. I think that, everyone is sort of just winging it and kind of figuring it out as we go along. And I think that's the reality of the world that we are in currently. Yes, today it's great. Deliveries, is doing incredibly well. A lot of, like, for example, Chef Seefah, I know that, right from the beginning, she was like a champion of like, let's get back to the kitchen. And that really inspired me to be like, I was so scared to go back to the kitchen, but seeing her kind of pushed me there. But we don't, the one thing that I've learned in the last 6 months is that we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And looking at the West and looking at how countries are going back into lockdown, it would be very premature to say that this is the way forward, the definitive way forward. But I think that there has been a lot of changes in the way, I mean, all of us, the way we consume, right? At one point, I remember at the start of the lockdown, we were talking about how everyone is now a baker and everyone is at home, and it's great because, cooking became sort of therapeutic and became sort of an escape. So that led to a lot of, developments of new models of business, whether it was DIY kits for people to make at home, whether it was focus on more comfort food now, because we don't know, nobody really wants to eat fancy meals anymore with so much uncertainty. You're looking at comfort. So there have been quite a few trends that have evolved over the last 6 months. Delivery, yes, being the one that has been the one that is shining for everyone. But I'm also very curious to know everybody else's experiences, to see what challenges everyone has faced in their businesses and how they've kind of overcome those. So,
Seefah, maybe we can start with you, Seefah. You've had, like,
Yes,
as Pooja herself said, that you were a
thank
big
you.
inspiration for everyone to get back to the kitchen. What was
Thank
it
you, Chef.
like? And tell us about, your lockdown deliveries. Apparently, there were massive number of deliveries in the lockdown for you.
Yes, that I can say this is my luck that I have a lot of people, support, right? I mean, uh, yeah, and when starting, it was people scared to order the food, but how to let people believe on you, like to order your food, first thing packaging, right? The COVID, we're not going to the food, but how to let people understand that also, that our job, that's why the chef is the professional chef is have to be in the kitchen, train your staff that time from beginning, right? And then that when customers start believe on us, that they start to order food from us, like that. And then my market of delivery is now is all over Mumbai. it's not same like before, just the cross like in the area, right? So now like market of delivery is much more better than before. I can say that 3-4 times of the income, like that. So that the reason also why we still not open for like dining in. That the thing, we don't have much problem for that. And then that is everything is still very risky for us to open also right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Indeed. So, Seefah, I mean, when you saw that there's been a lot of need of rethinking, re-strategizing, do you at least at this point feel that in many ways, I think chefs and bakers gave inspiration beyond food to everybody through this lockdown?
No, I mean that now, like Chef Pooja said, that everyone start to baking it at home, right? I feel this good thing. I feel like it's therapy for us. Like your mind will be concerned what you have to do, like you have to measurement, so you don't have to thinking what is situation outside. So this that also very good thing. That's why people start to baking and then cooking also. Not only baking, you can see home chef that I'm really appreciate that the food is so good. Like you can get home food, home baker, everything. Like it is inspiration for everyone, I mean. And is it like not about that they start cooking at home and then our business going down or what? Nothing like that. I thinking people doing because of the, like I say, it's like a therapy for us. Because now people sitting at home do nothing, so why not you should start the cooking also. Like when it's locked down, I start to keep like easy recipe also. Even the Chef Pooja also do the same, right? Like showing people how to do the easy way to cooking at home. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
was certainly a recipient of that, Pooja, making over and over again your chocolate chip cookies. But I just want to ask you, like, of course, there's that piece about giving back, being part of this sort of suffering hood that everybody was at one point, and now coming off it. I know you started out with the disclaimer that who knows what's next. But for you, as somebody who's sort of gone through both engagement, workshops, baking, sort of connecting with your consumer, what is your approach to the next step?
So I think what this pandemic has done is just accelerated a lot of the things that were in the pipeline, especially for us. So going towards packaged goods was something that we've been working on for 2 years, and it somehow just seemed to be the right market and environment to do it right now. But trying to build something in the middle of a pandemic is a challenge, just by itself. Like trying to get your team to come to work, figuring out how everyone's going to be here, those leaving those things aside, just actually building a whole new product line and seeing people enjoy it and finally hold it in my hands has been something that is a joy that I can't explain. Also I feel that given the times that we're in, we, like all of us, we all have been working on products that will definitely not rely on people dining in. I think the dining in part of it, I know some chefs here, have restaurants, and that's one thing that I want to ask them what they are thinking about dining in. Because for me, at least early on in March, I knew that I wouldn't be able to, just afford to keep the restaurant going. Like it was just it was a very tough decision, but was kind of one that was, you have to cut the arm to save the body sort of situation. So we've kind of pivoted and made our way through it and kind of seen other ways for people to buy our products. But I would love to hear from Vanshika and Seefah as well. Like, what is the future of dining in? That what do you think about dining in?
Panchika?
Hi. Hi. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for having me on this amazing platform with so many amazing women. The future for dining in is pretty uncertain still. So the restaurant is still pretty so. It's not that great. Um, we're just trying to meet the cost. We're doing a lot of deliveries, and we started this new model of. So I started selling bread from home during the lockdown. So I live in this apartment complex where there are a lot of different buildings, and nobody was going out, nothing was coming in. So I started baking at home and started selling bread from home. So I would go from house to house with my basket of bread and just sell it. So that is what I did during the lockdown, and that gave me a very good confidence and a scope of business. Till now, I'm doing that, and we have those loyal customers, and it just spread across Gurgaon and Delhi and Noida as well. And that gave me the confidence of doing more and more and more. So we started packaging other stuff as well, like spice mixes and jams and pastes, curry pastes and all of that. And then now that we've opened a new cafe, this cafe is in an apartment complex as well where I live. So this is doing pretty well because it's in there. People can just walk in their night suits, and it opens for breakfast. So that is doing pretty well. That they can come in whenever. They don't have to drive anywhere. It's inside their apartment complex. So this is kind of running the entire day. But the restaurant is still kind of suffering, and we just have to do these so many different things, workshops, and a lot of different things to sustain the restaurant. Otherwise, it's very difficult if we just rely on walk-in guests and reservations.
Yeah, I think that's I think across the board that's been this whole period of like adaptation and pivoting. I think everyone has done it in the food business, whether it was getting the masalas from the restaurant or getting the pickles or everything. And I think that that's what people wanted as well, to still have a feeling of being part of the community that they would interact with at home. So I think these at home experiences have really been the sort of star or hero in the last couple of months. I'm guessing till for the next like at least till March, I think that's the way forward for most food businesses.
Yeah,
And if
yeah, for sure. That is the way forward, and I'm really glad because I promote healthy eating a lot, and trying to make a lot of things in house. Like we don't buy any of the bottled anything. Like we make everything in house, whatever we can. Ketchup, mustard, anything that there is, we make in house. So I'm really glad that people are getting conscious about eating healthy and buying the right produce from chemical free farmers and supporting them as well. And they're getting like they would pay a little bit extra if they're getting a healthier product. So that has helped us out as well because we try to buy from people which are growing chemical free, and that is a little bit expensive than regular stuff. But people are getting conscious and they want to invest in their health, which is great.
Yeah. So, Seefah, you want to just pitch in? I think Pooja was basically getting a grasp on the restaurant business story. How is that piece shaping for you?
So the thing is, we also shut the restaurant on top. You know, now like my restaurant before is 55 seater, like we are third floor, so that is spread out 2,000. So now I'm moving down to second floor. Now my restaurant also only 1,000. No, so now my full capacity is only 35 seater. So I thinking that I will. My brand is my restaurant should be the small concept now. I'm not going like very big or expand of something else because of we never know what will be happen again in the future. I can't expect much for the people to come and then to fear that the COVID is still there outside, so that I expecting everything now day by day. See, today we still like calling everyone all together, like my team, my family or whatever. That is good thing happen with us. Like, and now I'm not planning anything to open. Like we'll go everything too like slowly, not rushing anything because of the we want to see first how the situation will be happening. Maybe after December, let's see that this is like if like a Chef Pooja, I really surprised at how she handled everything alone of everything like production, everything. Like now, like I have talent, so we divide the work like even we help each other also very difficult for us. So that's why we like, okay, let's go slow because of we don't know how also that how to do the business. We are chef, we don't know how to build our business going up. Like Pooja, I was surprised that you are the one that is handling everything alone. That is amazing. I mean, like really, yeah.
I do have a very good team now as well. So it's not me all alone. There's some very good people working with us. But yeah, it is. I mean, the loneliness is something I talk about a lot about running a business by yourself, food or otherwise.
Yeah.
It is
Actually, you
quite.
also you have to cook as well. You have to like make the product as well. You have to you brainstorm it, and then you have to like plan everything as well. Yeah, team. I have the team also, but that the thing is everything have to coming from us, and then they will start to like hear that. So that you are do so amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to use this as my investor pitch.
Yeah. That. Yeah.
But
That all
still,
my. Yeah.
chefs, chefs come with a lot of creative, that's the line of mind that is, it's all creative. So to be able to actually manage business along with it, it's only fair that, it's not on everyone's plate to be able to do that, because you have the passion and flair to cook well, and that's, why you're famous chefs, and all of you here. So in times like these, when you don't know what's headed, where are we headed with the restaurants, how many people are going to start coming in, and so I want to ask Chef Guntas. There's a huge trend that you started off, the whole pull-up cakes, which have they have flooded the city. Everyone's and especially in COVID, we've seen so many of them. So do you feel that trends, when as a chef you're able to start such trends, they really help in especially these times when our business is otherwise down? Sorry, chef, you're on mute.
You're muted.
Yeah.
Mm. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So during the lockdown, there's something that came to my notice, that the only thing that everybody truly cared about was food, because that was the only thing that was giving you happiness. You couldn't get out, you couldn't socialize as much. There weren't many experiences out there, so there was not much that you could actually do. So eventually, with this whole cake, it was actually inspired by Parker's in Dubai. The whole idea was just you lift it up and the sauce basically falls down. Well, if you think about it practically, there's not much to it. It's a cake which has licked up all the good sauce, and you have your brownie bits. So it's really good to taste. However, what really worked was that it was more of an experience which was being sold, and it also became kind of an Instagram thing, because you weren't going out, you weren't documenting much. So this was something that you would want to, take a picture, document it, taste great. So I think it picked up more as a trend like that. However, we did get a lot of repeat orders, and a lot of people who actually did end up kind of getting inspired by it and doing a lot about it, was also because it did taste good. But it is a trend. I don't really know how far is it going to go, because eventually after you put it on Instagram once or twice, you kind of move on to something else. So yeah, but the lockdown did kind of give that opportunity for you to be creative and do something different out there.
Muted. Okay, I was saying that, did you all as chefs get more and more interactive than you would have been in most normal circumstances? Because I guess the power of the network at a time when things are harder is something that keeps you going, Chef Guntas?
100%. I genuinely feel
Okay, I
that
think it's running now.
during the lockdown, your Instagram or your social media was all about being relevant and reaching everybody out there. You have to be relevant to your audience, providing them with content that they can actually relate to, and that they would want to actually come back to your page and actually figure out something that they can look forward to. Because everything, the whole world was kind of, you were just seeing it through your phone. There was not much. You couldn't interact, you couldn't meet. You were kind of building experiences for yourself at home. So Instagram or social media, for I mean, I'm quite certain everybody was. I mean, everybody was using social media a lot of people who were, everybody was becoming a chef, everybody started selling food, and everybody started cooking. Everybody was a home chef now because that was all you could do primarily to make yourself happy. That was a hobby that you could actually, inculcate at home, which you wouldn't otherwise because it was so easy initially. We would all go out to eat. We wouldn't. So social media just played a huge role, at least for me personally, for my work, for my business in particular during the lockdown.
Sure. Pooja? The digital piece is so big. I mean, I know you are not just the macaron queen, you're the digital queen when it comes to keeping all your audience, engaged. But that really sort of took a completely new color, right? It wasn't about just talking to your audience. It was like making a relationship.
Exactly, and exactly what Chef Guntas said as well, because suddenly you were at home, isolated, and as chefs, you're so used to having all the ingredients and all this machinery and all this team, and now suddenly I was at home thinking, "Acha, now what do I make with what I have around me?" So it was also really great to kind of break into the Indian pantry for me, especially, and kind of look at, Acha, I have ghee at home, I have this at home, I have this. Can I make this into something incredible? And I think that's what really also connected with people, because everyone was in the, I think just respect for basic ingredients. Suddenly you couldn't find baking powder, baking soda anywhere. That whole, in the beginning of March, April, people were still like hoarding things. You didn't know what was available at all. So it was quite, for me, it was quite different. Even as a chef, the switch in the mind of like, also I had to clean all the dishes myself after and weigh everything myself. So I was like, I am very lazy. How do I make the easiest thing with the least effort and the least, like I had to start baking at midnight because my family was using the kitchen through the day to cook, and my dad was now in the kitchen cooking these elaborate meals, which was
And I'm a
great.
huge
But
fan, just by the way, of your dad. Huge, huge, huge fan.
he's amazing. I haven't missed like outside food at all. The only time I ordered was Seefah, when I told her like, now I really need some, like noodle soup, and she sent me some. But other than that, so I was baking at midnight, and it was, I think everyone had like some sort of insomnia, or just because of the uncertainty. A lot of people were staying up really late, and I would do these midnight baking sessions, and I was amazed by how many people were, baking along with me at midnight. So I was like, there is definitely something that's going wrong for everyone, and we all are in the same boat. And it was kind of also reassuring to know that even though you were isolated physically, there were still connections that you could make with people from around the world. So I think for me, that was, just not feeling alone was great.
Aditi, how was it for you? Aditi? Aditi, can you hear? Yeah. What was your experience, Aditi, sort of now looking at the journey, lawyer to baker, and now like wondering what's next and how are things going to shape? Yeah, you're unmuted now. You can talk. Okay, I'm not sure Aditi can hear us very well. Okay, okay. Let me just go to fluff in a cup. Sarah, over to you. You're a home
Hi,
baker,
Shaili.
very
Yes,
different to somebody doing commercial work yet.
yes. Hello, Shaili. Thank you so much for having me today. For me, when everything shut down in March, it was very hard, like how everyone said. And we were clueless, like literally, like what are we supposed to do now? How are we supposed to rebuild our brand? So what I started to do is I started doing ebooks. So I was able to teach through a PDF format. So I started doing that, which really helped me to, just build my business back. And nobody was going out, nobody was buying. So this was just one way to, get the business running from nothing. And then another thing that I did is I used to go and deliver myself. So I was wearing all masks and gloves, and I started doing these cupcake assorted boxes. So I mainly specialize in cupcakes. So I started doing assorted boxes because birthdays were cancelled, weddings were cancelled. People didn't have any sort of a celebration happening. So these little boxes, which I used to just go and deliver myself, really brought a smile on everyone's faces. And that picked up. People started liking it, and people started ordering again, and that helped boost the business again. And people started getting that confidence again that okay, we can buy, it's okay, they're taking care of all the safety precautions and they are doing it. So the trust started coming back. So that was one way of building it again from, when everything was closed, bakeries were closed. So for us home bakers, it was actually kind of like, a personal from me to them sort of a thing. They had a personal connection with us. So that picked up. And yeah, so these were like a few things. Like I started doing ebooks, and I started doing deliveries myself, taking care of all the protocols. And because I'd work from home, I didn't have to think about the restaurant point of view or a cafe point of view. I just had to take care of my business and achieve my small target, which I had for me. And today I'm here with Pooja Dhingra. It is my dream. Actually, when I was invited for this, I really didn't believe myself, and I was like, really, me? And they were like, yeah. And I have a question for you. I get this question a lot. So when you get these negative criticisms from people, like we are in a business industry which is very taste subjective, people may like, people may not. So when you get these negative sort of a criticism from people, how does it affect your mental health? Like, does it take your motivation? Does it drain your motivation out? Or what is that one thing that you do to build yourself up and to keep yourself going? So I think that will help a lot of us if we get to know what is your mantra to, getting back and going forward.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. That is a great question. I think as anyone who puts out any work, we all definitely work from a space of, it comes from a space of like giving a part of your heart out on a plate or in a box. And then when it gets crushed over, I completely understand what that feeling is like. So, very early on, I think 10 years ago when I started, and I still remember my first bad review. It was for a lemon tart that somebody tasted, and this was like one of my favorite things. It was like a thing I learned in a bakery in Paris, and I came and I replicated the same recipe, and till date, like I love it. And somebody tried it, and I think they had also never had a lemon tart, like a French lemon tart in that manner. And they went and completely, I think Twitter back then, was still a safe space, but even then, like completely tore me down on Twitter, wrote a big, massive review. And what I did at that point was, one is with criticism, like you said, taste is very subjective, right? So one thing you have to understand is that something that I will like, you will not like, you have to be ready for that. But when someone comes and questions the authenticity of something, or questions something that's just beyond I didn't like it, is when you have to kind of build walls around yourself. So for me, what I did back then was I had a lot of French customers, or customers who would come to the store who loved the tart. So first was like, is this true? Like, do you agree with this? No, they didn't agree with it. They strongly disagreed with it. So I was like, okay, at least I know that, it's not a question of the product being bad, because I truly believe in constructive criticism, and we've kind of built all our menu processes to avoid this very situation. So I do sample testing for everything. So any new item on the menu is not, the customer is not going to be the first person to eat it. There will be different stages of people tasting it, giving feedback. So I know what to prepare for. So, you take a sample size of 10 people, 10 people, can be your friends and family who are tasting your product. My brother is brutal. He'll taste something and tell me this is horrible. Like he'll really tell me I can trust. I know that I trust his palate. So pick at least 5 people whose palate you trust. Every time you make something new, because what you like is really subjective, but make sure that this sample group tastes it. If most of the people, if 3 out of 5 people or 4 out of 5 people like it, give it great reviews, put it on the menu, and then any feedback that comes in, and if you know that your quality is consistent and every time you're making the same thing and you know that it's tasting the exact same way, then at least from your end you've done everything you can to make sure that the product you put out, that you 100% back it and believe in it. And then if someone doesn't like it, it's just a matter of taste, and it's not that your product is bad. I think it's very important for you to put these processes in place to protect yourself, and also know to give yourself the guarantee that at least I know what I put out. Like, I'll give you an example. Our passion fruit macaroon is my favorite macaroon. Like, I love passion fruit, I love it, but it's such a unique flavor that most people, it's a bit sour, and as Indians, in general, we don't really like sour things in our food. So a lot of people who would eat it would not like it, to a point where my team was like, this is the lowest selling product out of the 10 flavors, we need to take it off. And I took it off the menu. I was like, okay, it's just not selling it, even though I love it, it's not selling. So at some point you have to even wear the business hat and let go of the creative hat and just do things, because at the end of the day we all are doing this to make money, and I think that's crucial. So yeah, as long as you manage those two things, you'll be good.
I think that's great advice. I think we should never forget why you're in the business, and never be shy enough to say why we're doing this business. We're here for the revenue. We're here to make money. We got to get down to taking all decisions that are required for that. Aditi, I believe you're back. If you can unmute yourself, ask your question, share how it's been for you.
Yeah, yes, I'm back. Hi, everybody. And it's absolutely a fangirl moment for me with Chef Pooja. So, as Sarah also mentioned, I was so thrilled to be here on the panel. And I am really, I've been listening to all these experiences, and it's extremely helpful, and it's a beautiful learning process. And yeah, I'm very thrilled. So lockdown has been amazing for me. I would say I have really taken it positively because I was a lot into wedding cakes and structured cakes, and I used to do really big events, and work with event planners and do all these structures. So, and that used to thrill me a lot. But I was super sad because most of my orders got cancelled, and my entire season, the wedding season and all, went for a toss because of the lockdown. And that's when I started doing a lot of smaller cakes, because all the celebrations were now cut in size. And then I started doing a lot of birthday orders, and I realized that people really trust home bakers, and they trust the sanitation that we follow. So that has really helped me. And also one more thing that I explored during the lockdown, which I wouldn't have, was online classes. So that really helped me in getting the break even and the revenue generation, because as all my orders got cancelled, I had to pay back the money to my clients as well. Because of the situation, I couldn't even keep the advance and all with me. I had to give it back. So the online classes really helped me. And that's when I realized that Instagram and social media plays such a important role. And I started interacting with my followers, and I started doing live sessions, which otherwise I wouldn't have ever. So my first online class, my first live session, all my firsts were during the lockdown. So I kind of got out of my comfort zone, and I tried exploring the trends as well, like the banana cake. So never knew that such simple things would also bring good revenue, as well as the joy of baking and serving your clients. So I'm actually happy in a way that the lockdown has taught me a lot of things, and I went out of my comfort zone, and I explored, which I would have never. I would have never explored it otherwise. So I could see a different side to my baking style as well. Yeah.
Pooja? You're still muted. Okay, hang on.
Okay.
You're good now.
Yeah, I'm having some network issues, I think. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Aditi, it's great to, kind of see, the positive sort of changes that I'd like to, like I said, I feel that this lockdown has really accelerated a lot of things for a lot of people. And, I hope that in due time, we look back at this as one of the biggest teachers for us to push us out of our comfort zones and show us that things can be different. And I think for me, especially, I think that in March or April, we were at a stage where, I have never been in that position where I had to make a pros and cons list of actually keeping the business alive or shutting everything down. And something that you spend 10 years building, like our investors just kind of said that, it's a very uncertain market. No one was moving money around. And it was just that stage of how am I going to make this happen? And honestly, we, shut the cafe down, but we put together the ebooks. And like, Sarah also said that ebooks was something that she did. But we put together like the ebooks and started doing workshops. And I look back at it now and I say, wow, we kind of, that sort of self-sufficiency or belief in oneself only is only that a crisis can really show you. And I always say that let's find the opportunity in the crisis, which is what I've been trying to do over the last couple of months. So it's very heartening to see that everybody has been going down the same path, and it's also really motivates me to just push myself a lot more. So yeah, thank you for sharing your story.
I have
Chika?
a question for Pooja.
Yeah.
If I can. If I can
Yes.
go ahead, yeah. Yeah, so when the lockdown started, I read about Pooja's story, and it was very disheartening. So when I read that, I was wondering that, if a brand like Chef Pooja can actually, go through all of these issues and ups and downs and all. So even as home bakers, even as cake artists, we were also going through the same thing, obviously on a lower scale. But I would like to ask Chef Pooja that how did you actually deal with it? How did you actually, get back? And because, as you said, investors, and, you really can't fake the money in the business. So how did you get the strength and gather the strength? Because there was a point of time where, as I said, like I had to actually pay back my clients because the orders were getting cancelled. So I was feeling really, really low, and then like self-motivation was the only thing. So what was your experience, and how did you come out of it?
I mean, exactly the same, Aditi. Like, I feel that, I mean, everyone is going through the same struggles at different levels, right? So I have friends who have hundreds of restaurants who are going through this at a level that I can't even imagine. So I think it just comes down to, for me, one was, I think for the first time in 10 years, I had to stop. It was a hard stop, and ask yourself really crucial questions of, why are you doing this? It was going to be very easy to just claim that, oh, everything is gone, everything's over, I'm going to shut shop and now just figure out what I'm going to do next, which was one of the things on my list I could have done. But I think that asking yourself what your purpose is, why are you doing this? Like, is this really what I see my life? I haven't stopped and asked myself those questions. So once I had answers to them, and I knew that this is really the path that I want to go down, and this is what I want to spend my life building, is then the motivation found me, because when you reach that level of sort of rock bottom, then you're like, okay, now it's only up from here. So like I said, and honestly, when I was, like I said, it was very isolating. And when I decided to shut the cafe, and it was a tough decision for me, for the team, for all of us, because it was a childhood dream that was, realized as that cafe, and every part of, whether it was the tiles or the menu or the people there, the apron, everything was something that was built with love. So it was definitely not an easy decision to take. But the minute I said that, this is what I'm doing, and I was honest and I was vulnerable, the kind of love that I saw from people, the kind of love that they had for the cafe, I knew that I loved it and I knew that people liked it, but I didn't realize the extent to which it mattered to people. We had letters coming in, people wrote poems, people made illustrations. The ebook sold out, and I was able to pay my staff. I was able to pay the rent and kind of get out of there and close everything. And it was only because of the love and support of people who really enjoyed the product. So I think that more than anything, it kind of opened my eyes to, we spend so much time talking about building a brand and all these things, but actually real life love that you can create with the product that you make. For me, that was what gave me all the motivation to be like, okay, this is rare. This is not common. This doesn't happen with everyone. And if you have it, it's really worth holding on to.
Absolutely.
We're going to ask Shikha to step in. Shikha Murarka, share what you're doing with your own bakery, and talk to us about your thoughts currently about the way you want to approach the business.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here. And I'm very glad to be on the platform with so many talented people. And I've worked with Pooja before, and we've been associated a number of times. So I was very happy to be on a roundtable conference with her. So this lockdown has been extremely crazy because, we used to do a lot of designer cakes in the beginning. And then we suddenly realized that there is absolutely no market left for the designer cakes because no one is buying them. And even if they are, it's barely like a kg and a half. No one wants to, do these big celebrations. So there was a moment that we thought that we had to diversify. There was no way out of this. So that's the time, like, I started doing more and more research of saying, okay, what else can I bring to the market or to my audience that they will like and want to do? We started experimenting. So, we did bundt cakes and we did breads, and then we got into play hampers. And to my surprise, the hampers really worked because at this given point of time, gifting is the only option to people. Like, they're not personally going to people's home. So gifting is the only way they want to send something across. So, it was really surprising when we had like hamper orders for like 200 hampers at this given point of time. And I saw a huge opportunity there, saying that, okay, I didn't know that a lockdown could give me this kind of an opportunity. So it kind of started scaling a bit more than I ever thought, because I think what worked for us as a brand was diversifying from our usual. Like, because we had to get at a standstill. We almost were at a standstill because there was no taker for designer cakes. And I'm sure Aditi also has faced this because, she's been into the same. It was very, very challenging in the beginning to just tell our viewers that we are also capable of doing something else, which is beyond this designer cakes, and accepting that. But wonderfully, for our benefit, a lot of people enjoyed it, and they really started enjoying the different things that we did. And we are very thankful because, like, maybe because of the kind of following we did have before this, and the trust that people had in us, they started accepting new products, which I think is just being lucky, during the lockdown. Because, and also like maintaining, and unfortunately, like, my home had gone through the whole COVID experience in the beginning, right in the beginning in April. So it was even tougher because to come back from there was so much fear to start something, and then get your staff, and there was fear all the time. And so it wasn't easy, but I guess it was just a journey. And like, online classes were a big huge surprise for us because, like, I still remember the first time someone asked us to do a Zoom session, and we're like, I don't even know how this is going to work. I don't know how if people are going to really join in. But to our surprise, there were far more people joining in than they would have otherwise joined in for like a session that we did live and like with people around. So it was very surprising, and it's really taught us a lot of things. And looking forward from here, I think we are looking forward to doing a lot of new things and just looking at everyone growing and doing. It's just so much of learning, like from Chef Pooja to all the other talented people here. We just keep seeing everyone and like, okay, there's some learning out of everything. So yeah, it's been great.
What I love about this is there's so much place for everybody, which is the thing with with people who are experimenting and offering different things. As somebody said, it's about taste, but that also makes for a very vibrant space and accommodates everyone. Now, Swayam, Purna, I know your kids are be pulling you here there, but please sit with us and tell us your journey with with your patisserie and bakery, and take us through what you'd like to ask Pooja. Share your experience with us.
So hi Pooja, I'm a big fan of yours, of course. Everyone here is, and thank you so much for having me here, Shaili. I don't really have a patisserie as such, but I do pop-up dinners in my small city of Raipur, and it's been very trying as everyone has experienced the same thing in the lockdown. Things have been tough, mostly because my work is majorly in on the internet. It's about writing about books. It's I'm a cookbook author and a photographer, right? So the money has been slowing down. People have been pulling out marketing campaigns. The cost has become down. The budget that the brands allocate has come down. So financially, it's taken kind of a toll on everyone. When I heard like Pooja's Lake 15 was closing down, it was such a shock because every time that I've been to Mumbai, I have never come back without a box of her macarons. They're just amazing. And passion fruit is actually one of my favorites also, Pooja. I don't know why you're pulling it out. Please don't. It's such an awesome flavor. It takes a little bit of, advanced palate to kind of get used to the passion fruit, but it's an amazing product. So, apart from that, I think whatever you've done in spite of losing your baby and, the packets, the cocoa drinking mixture, I think, you have those packets that you've come out with, and your ebooks, everything that you've done is just so inspirational to all of us, because it makes us believe that in spite of being in a lockdown and in spite of having financial problems, we can probably overcome them and come out of them still as some sort of winners. So that's it. I don't know about experience. I say, ask me some questions. I'm not good with just talking, and I'll go on rambling otherwise.
No, that's good. But actually, what you did say triggers a question in my mind, because I think a lot of us have been looking at Pooja's timeline about moving into packaged foods, right, Pooja? Which is, I saw the Dipki, and then I think you've got more stuff lined up. How has that experience been, and why did you opt to go into that space? Is this something you felt was a natural extension, or did, let's say, COVID make you think about it? What was the thinking behind going with packaged food? I mean,
Sure.
packaged bakery items.
Yeah. So for us, it was always the plan. 2-3 years ago, when we raised our first round of investment, it was to scale the business into the packaged goods, and extend our brand so that we can be present in more cities. Because the problem with fresh products is that you can't really, the shelf life is a problem, transport is a problem, all of those things. So how do you kind of, count for all of those? The only thing is that while building both businesses, I was more pulled towards the fresh part of it, because that's what's comfortable, that's what I know, that's what comes easy to me. And I was working with a lot of like senior product developers, who worked at Britannia for several years, to make products that were shelf stable, that I actually really enjoyed and liked. Because for me, it was that when I drink the hot chocolate, I wanted to feel like I'm drinking the hot chocolate at the cafe. I want to have the same experience. I want to have the same product. So what COVID did was just kind of realign focus and be like, okay, that the retail spaces now for the next couple of years at least are not worth investing in. Rents in Bombay at least are too high. Other cities now, travel is an issue. So this is the best way to kind of go forward, right? And we were already testing them for many, many months. And then I finally got another senior product developer who joined in the middle of COVID, moved from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, all of those things. And it was just, in this big kitchen, it was just the two of us working day after day to get these products that we love. And the minute we put them out, like we would do drops on every weekend, and we would put them out, and they would sell out. And we managed in the first weekend, I think we managed to get shipments, orders from 90 cities. So everywhere from it's going to Shillong, it's going to Varanasi, and people from the Andamans are like, how do we get it? And I was just like, just happy tears, like just thinking of just that whole thing of overcome. When it was dark, it was really dark, right? And when you're sitting here, when all of that is done, it's easy to stay. I didn't know what would come out of it. I didn't know that this would work out and it would be successful. So it's wrong to kind of be like, I knew all along that this is what I was going to do, and it's great. It is a path, it's never a straight path. So it was a lot of like being pushed around and internally sort of understanding. Like everyone around me is like, yeah, we always knew this would be great. I'm like, I didn't, and I didn't know that this would work out. So I think that packaged goods is definitely where our focus is going to lie in the next couple of years. We're getting incredible feedback. We're getting, immense, like just from our website, e-commerce is doing great for us. Direct to customer is, you hear all these buzzwords, but when you're actually in the business now and you see, you actually see the data on a day-to-day basis, it's quite promising. And I think that that's a route that I would, continue to follow. Can also be in everybody's homes. So that I think is the greatest part of it.
Pooja, can I ask a question?
Yeah, please do come.
Sorry,
Pooja, what do you think about the next product that you're going to come out with? Apart from the drinking chocolate, are we going to see some pie packs that are going to come in, or ready-made bread packets that we can probably bake?
I mean, the problem with me is I want to do everything. Like my team has to be like, no. Sorry, I lost you there. Packaged. Yeah. I mean, for me, the next thing what we're doing is I really want to do I want to do the simple things, like how do you get the best vanilla cake at home that you can make in a pressure cooker, with the least amount of things. So I wanted to also really focus on simplicity and then give people the opportunity of like, okay, exactly. So we are working on those. We also have Christmas coming up, and I am a big fan of the, in general of December as a month. So we have a lot of Christmas specials lined up.
Okay, that's really lovely. So let's hope that, I'm going to go ahead and order one and taste something for Christmas from your products.
Please do, please.
All of us living in different cities in the lockdown are just waiting for stuff that can be parceled to us since we can't make it.
Shelly, I tried sending it to you. I really know.
I know. But I'm using over the cookie right now, but soon I'm going to get there. Yeah. Okay.
So I had a question.
Sure. We got last 5 minutes, so I can pull in 2 questions. One, Shika.
Okay. So how are you, Pooja? The hot chocolate was absolutely amazing. And so were the other things. How are you managing costs? Are you cutting? How are you cutting down on expenses? For example, the packaging materials are very expensive as well, and the ingredients, obviously, we want to use the best ingredients we possibly can. How are you cutting?
So currently, we're not in a space where we have to look at because we're building from scratch. It's kind of we can kind of work on competitive pricing just because we already have the the production facility. We have the same team that's working on both. So a lot of our overheads are getting it's not eating into our costs as much as when we do maybe if we contract manufacture or things like that. Right now it's still very small scale. It's still happening at the same production unit, and I'm hoping that the minute we scale, then we economies of scale will kick in, and that will help us to produce the same products at the same given cost that we are at today. It's actually been quite incredible because I put up packaging for these things is the hardest part, and everyone you speak to, it's like 1 lakh pieces, 2 lakh pieces, and like I was just like, I can't block my cash flow in just packaging, and that's a great question. So we've actually found our way around it. We've met with different suppliers who've who've done small batch production for us. We've also managed, strangely enough, like what people want is just the confirmation that you will continue to continue to buy from them. So even for some of our other boxes, like we've placed orders for like maybe 4 months and kept that stock with them, and then we keep taking. So for them, they produce a larger batch, they store it for us, and then they just release it to us on a month-to-month basis, and we sort of guarantee the guarantee is that we will take all of that from them. So it doesn't impact our cash flow in 1 month. We don't have to pay for 4 months of supply. We split it over the next 4 to 6 months. So we've kind of the thing is that everyone's in the same situation, and everyone just wants to do business and have some sort of guaranteed revenue coming from somewhere. So it's a lot of jugaad. It's been a lot of like how do we kind of get this out there. And I think the biggest thing for me was, and the reason I was taking so much time earlier to launch this, is because this perfection of like, this has to be the perfect box, and it has to be the perfect label, and it has to be the perfect packaging. And then when you reach a stage where you're like, I used to have a team member who used to say like, done is better than perfect. Just get it done. Your first version of what you get out is not going to be the best, and you just keep working on it, and eventually you'll get there. And it's this is sort of like a test run of what we're doing. So I hope that answered the question.
Great. Okay, we've got time for one, or maybe otherwise comments from Guntas and Seefah to close out.
Okay, I have something to say. It's not a question, but it's something directed towards Pooja. So I was in Bangalore. I used to stay in Bangalore, and I'd done my C. I was working with an MNC, and I decided to do baking, and I wanted to pursue it. So I flew down for one of Pooja's classes, and super excited, super fan moment. So excited to see her. And that one class, and I just had a very brief interaction with me, led me to actually go to Le Cordon Bleu and study, and actually pursue this as a career and shift my career from CA to this. So I really want to thank her. I never met her again, but got this chance, and I just want to thank her.
Thank you.
I mean, she wouldn't even realize it. She wouldn't have even realized it that she
Thank
would
you
have
so
helped
much.
me make that change. But
How lovely.
Man, I should have asked Cordon Bleu for commission. Thank you so much. That's really that stories like that push me along a lot. So thank you so much.
Seefah, a piece. What is that one thing that you're going to keep in mind going forward, Seefah?
So same thing. I don't have much question to ask you, but the thing is that your problem is similar with my problem. I just want to give the one word to you, that just stay strong, and then we keep hugging each other from whatever we made or whatever in the WhatsApp. So just keep doing what you're doing right now. We know what your problem, because we have the problem the same. So it's not easy for you, not easy for us. Just keep rocking.
Keep rocking. Well, final word, Pooja. It's been I've learned a lot from all of you.
Yeah, I think just using Seefah's closing words, I think we all are in the same boat. Kind of, we all are facing, at the end of the day, we all are going through the same issues and the same problems. And I think for me to sort of realize that any problem that you're facing right now is not you specific. So I think that just knowing that gives me a lot of comfort. And it's great and really motivating to see how everyone has taken this time and sort of adapted and pivoted and moved forward. And I'm excited to see how everyone's businesses pan out. Everyone who's watching this as well, like Seefah said, stay strong and keep rocking.
Shaili, I just have something to say to Pooja. Can I?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So Pooja, during my law school days, I used to travel with my best friend all the way to Palladium to eat just the macarons. So we used to change local trains, and we used to, take up buses and all, and we used to just travel to Palladium to eat the macarons. And I've been a great fan of yours. And then I was really, really happy to meet Shikha. And that at Shikha's Mishmash Studios opening, I met Chef Pooja again. And that entire thing, changed my life, completely inspired. And her books have been so amazing. The Big Book of Treats, I think, has been always my go-to book. And thank you, Chef Pooja, for inspiring me. I can never forget those days when we used to travel by train just to
You
eat
guys
your
are
stuff.
really,
I can never
thank you
forget
so much.
that.
This wasn't the intention of this round table. Thank you so much, guys.
But
That's
it tells us
super
about the
kind.
power of the sisterhood. I think the way
Yeah.
everybody sort of benefited
Yeah.
from each other, the way we all have, I mean, you all have championed each other, found like moments where somebody else mattered in your life. I'm really inspired. This is a very happy food space. Good. Thank you for having you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us for this discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pooja. Thanks, everyone else.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.